Hello friends, welcome to Civilspedia. Today we'll be handling 4 topics. With regard to prelims, we'll deal about RIMES, Invest India and Hausla 2018. With regard to mains, we will learn about the Right to Information Act of 2005. Now coming to our first topic, RIMES. Why RIMES was in news? It's because RIMES, the organization RIMES, it has announced 2 cyclones that occurred recently near to India to be the rarest of rare occurrences. What are the 2 cyclones? It is the Titli and the Luban cyclone. Now, let's understand where these 2 cyclones occurred. Coming to Luban, it was formed in the Southeast Arabian Sea. What the meteorological department expected is, they expected it will move towards India. But what happened is, on contrary, it moved in the opposite direction. It traveled towards the Gulf Coast. It traveled for 9 days and it made its landfall near the Yemen and Oman in the Gulf Coast. Now coming to Titli. So where did Titli hit? It is in the coastal areas of Andhra Pradesh and Odisha where Titli made its landfall. So what is peculiar about Titli? Titli, it changed its direction after reaching the coast, after making the landfall. So friends, we would have learnt in geography what happens when a cyclone makes a landfall. Generally, when it makes a landfall, first thing, the moisture supply to the cyclone, it will be cut. What will happen? There will be more friction on the land. So the cyclone will slow down, it will weaken and slowly the rain will reduce. But the peculiar thing here is when Titli made its landfall, it made a recurvature. It traveled towards northeast part of India. So what are the 3 or 4 things that were rarest of rare phenomenon? First thing, it made a recurvature and then it retained its destructive potential, which means generally the cyclone reduces its intensity after it makes its landfall. But this cyclone, it retained its intensity. And what happened is, it went on to the tribal districts of Odisha. It stayed static on the Odisha for 2 days and it rained heavily. And even after the rain, it moved towards the northeast and it reached till the western or the southern tip of West Bengal. What the Indian Meteorological Department thought is, it will go towards the Gangetic Basin, but it will become weak. But on contrary, something unexpected happened. So what were the challenges that Odisha faced while facing the Titli cyclone? First thing, we did not have an actionable early warning information system because we did not have prior experience in handling such a cyclone. Not only for India, for the entire world, this is one of a kind cyclone. So we were unable to handle it. Second thing is, Odisha, it predicted that it will hit the coastal region. So what Odisha did is, it did an extensive operation and arrangements only in the coastal areas. So they built embankments, they built cyclone shelters, they made necessary arrangements only in the coastal area, but they did not concentrate on the hilly areas. What happened? It rained continuously in hilly areas. What happens when a hilly area gets a continuous heavy rain? Landslides will happen. So apparently what happened is, there were 0 casualties on the coastal side, but there were heavy casualties on the hilly districts. Because the people were not warned, it was totally unexpected, and these people, they were not even relocated. Because of this, heavy casualties happened. Now, we learned that RIMES is the organization that declared the cyclone to be rarest of the rare phenomenon. Now, let's learn about RIMES. As the expansion says, RIMES is the Regional Integrated Multi-Hazard Early Warning System for Africa and Asia. Friends, RIMES, it's an international organization and it's an intergovernmental organization. Right now, there are around 45 countries who are members of RIMES, which is given the map. All the countries highlighted in the blue, they are the member countries, and the yellow ones are the collaborating partners, right? So India is a founding member and India is the chairman of RIMES. So what is the purpose of RIMES? Basically, it is to develop and implement an early warning system for disasters in the Asia Pacific and African region. Now, the headquarters of RIMES, it's located in Thailand. So why was this RIMES created initially? What gave the idea? It is after the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, the Asian nations and the African nations, they decided to have an organization that will help them to coordinate activities related to disasters. So that's how in 2009, the RIMES was established. It is an official organization of United Nations, right? So this United Nations, it gives assistance in form of 2 organizations, namely UNESCAP and DANIDA. DANIDA, it's the government agency of Denmark, and UNESCAP, which is the United Nations Economic Social Commission for Asia and Pacific. This is one of the 5 regional forums of United Nations Economic and Social Councils. So these are the partners, or these are the players in RIMES organization. Now, let's come back to the Odisha issue. So what are the things which we should learn from Odisha and the cyclone? First thing is, we should build cyclone shelters not only in the coastal areas, we should concentrate on hilly areas also. Second thing is, we have to be very careful while choosing the relocation sites. For example, if it's coastal area, that's different. But when it comes to hilly areas where landslide and other problem happens, we have to be very careful in choosing the location, that is relocation sites for the disaster. An important thing is, the disasters, it is becoming unpredictable and their dynamics is changing. So what happens is, this National Disaster Management Authority, which is the wing of India, it should take the blueprint, the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction. We have to articulate the points given in it. We have to understand the risk. We have to widen the scope of disaster management. Understood? Now, our next topic is Invest India. So why Invest India was in news? This organization, this agency, Invest India, it won an award, which is the United Nations Award for Excellence in Promoting Investment in Sustainable Development. So why was this award given to Invest India? Friends, Invest India, it facilitated establishment of a wind turbine manufacturing company. This company, it is manufacturing windmill blades in India. Additionally, India has given an additional commitment that we will train our local staffs. Using them, we will then produce 1 gigawatt of renewable energy using the windmills produced in the India. So who gives this award? It is the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. It facilitates two people. First is the Investment Promotion Agency and the country that is concerned. Here the Investment Promotion Agency is Invest India and country is our India. So before we learn about Invest India, first let's understand what is meant by an Investment Promotion Agency. Friends, Investment Promotion Agency are generally government agencies. In some cases, it could be non-governmental agencies. Basically, they are established by the government and their prime aim is to facilitate investment and promotion. This is their one and only aim. They facilitate and promote trade in the region or in the country, right? Now, Invest India, it is the India's official investment promotion and facilitation agency. So this is a not-for-profit organization established in the year 2010. Understand, these are the primary partners in Invest India. Who are they? The Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, FICCI, and State Government of India. All these partners are equity holders. By the term we understand, this Invest India, it is a company, right? When you learn about investment promotion agencies, please don't confuse with Indian Brand Equity Foundation. This IBEF, this is a trust that is owned solely by Ministry of Commerce and Industry. This is different from Invest India, right? Invest India is the premier organization. It is coordinating all the facilitation of trade and investment in case of Make in India, Startup India, and all the activities of government. Understood? So, what is the use of getting an award like this? Friends, when an organization like UNCTAD, it acknowledges the efforts taken by an Indian organization, this will help us to get more foreign investment. Our forex exchange will improve, our economy will be built stronger, right? It will indirectly help us to develop in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index and many more benefits. Understood? Now, our next topic is Hausla 2018. Hausla 2018, it is a national level talent festival held for children from the childcare institutions. It was held in New Delhi. This year, the theme of the talent meet is child safety. Now, what is the significance of holding such a national level event for children from childcare institutions? First thing is, it gives them a national arena to exhibit their talents. So it will give more confidence in the children. Importantly, it will give a feeling of unity in diversity. How? Friends, since it's a pan-Indian event, the children from all over the nation, they will gather at a place. So a child from childcare institution, he or she will get a chance to communicate or to connect with the child who is facing the same problem or a similar issue. So this will give them a feeling of unity and diversity. They won't feel left out, right? Now, let's understand what is the mean by the term childcare institutions. So this is mentioned in the Juvenile Justice Act. So this is the wider definition of childcare institution. I'll put you the definition in a simple term. Basically, it is a place where children in conflict with law, they receive care and attention. So what are these children in conflict with law? Friends, earlier we used to call them as juvenile. This term, it has been altered in 2015. It has been replaced with the term children in conflict with law. So why is the term replaced? with the term called children in conflict with law because there is a negative connotation attached to the term called juvenile. Generally, when a child is from juvenile home, the society sees them as criminals. So to avoid this, they have been replaced with the term children in conflict with law. This Hausla, it is being assisted by two more organizations. One is the Children's Investment Foundation of India, which is a London-based non-governmental organization, and National Institute of Public Cooperation and Child Development. This is a research and development wing of Ministry of Women and Child Development. Basically, it does research and development in the field of women empowerment and child development, right? Now, what is the importance of holding such an event? What are the benefits of holding such an event? Friends, understand, who are the children in conflict with law? Generally, when a child is below 18 years of old and he violates the law, it could be a petty theft or it could be even a heinous crime. When they commit, they are kept in the juvenile justice, under juvenile justice law, they are kept in the child care homes and they are treated. They will be given a chance to reform themselves and then they will start their life afresh. So right now, a country like India, it is hunting for talents. When we are hunting for talents, it should be more inclusive, right? So what we do is, these initiatives, it will help them not to be excluded. We will have a more inclusive development because every child, it is born good. Only because of the circumstances, they change their path and they commit crimes. So these things, it will give them an opportunity to reform themselves. We will have a more inclusive society building and nation building. Understood? Now, coming to the main topic, we are going to deal about the Right to Information Act. Everyone are familiar with the Right to Information Act because it is an act that gives power to the citizen to get timely response from the government regarding any information or any document, right? So this is established by an act of parliament. So what is the span of RTI? It is applicable to the whole India except Jammu and Kashmir. Why it's not applicable to Jammu and Kashmir? Because Jammu and Kashmir have their own right to information law that is governing them, right? Now, it replaced the erstwhile Freedom of Information Act of 2002. Now, what are the organizations that will be covered under Right to Information Act? Friends, any constitutional authority which includes legislature, it includes executive and judiciary. When we talk about judiciary, only a part of judiciary is covered under Right to Information Act. We'll come back to it again. Then any government agencies that is established by a law, by a statute, by any gazette notification or even ruling of a court, they will be covered under Right to Information Act. Now, the non-governmental organizations, they won't be covered under RTI, only under particular circumstances where they are owned, controlled, or when they are substantially financed by the government, they will be covered under Right to Information Act. And the privatized public utility companies, they are also covered under RTI Act. So what is the best example for privatized public utility companies? We can say DISCOMs. Generally, when it comes to distribution companies in electricity, it is the private players who hold a bigger share. But even then, they are the public utility companies. So these organizations, these companies, they will be covered under Right to Information Act, right? So how this RTI works, I will put it in simple terms. When you want to get an information about a government document or about a government proceeding, what you have to do is you have to send the written request to the public information officer who will be available in every office. So he or she has to reply you within 13 days. If they are not replying within 13 days, they will be subjected to penalty and there will be more actions. So this is the simplified working structure of RTI. Now friends, understand what are the exceptions to the RTI. First thing is the political parties, they are excluded from the purview of RTI. And then the private organizations, the defense establishments, and when someone asks for information and when it is in conflict with the national interest, commercial interest of the nation, when it is in conflict with the international relations, or when it is in conflict with any other important provisions regarding security of the nation, the government or an office, it can deny the information under Right to Information Act, right? So when we were talking about part of judiciary, what does it mean? Friends, there is always a conflict between the Supreme Court regulation and RTI. Because the Supreme Court said only the administration, it could be covered under RTI. Judicial proceedings, it cannot be covered under RTI. So which means only a part of judiciary, that is administrative functioning of the judiciary, it is covered under RTI. The judicial proceedings of the judiciary, it is not covered under RTI. Understood? Now, there was only one amendment so far made to the RTI Act. It was made in the year 2013. So what happened is the Central Information Commission, this was established under the RTI Act. It said the political parties, the national parties, they are a part of public authority and they are liable to be answerable under Right to Information Act. But the political parties, what they said is, no, we are not under the purview of RTI. We are not public authorities. So we have to be removed from the purview of RTI. So they tabled an amendment in 2013 and apparently it was passed. So why was this amendment passed? What was the reason given by them? So the political parties, they said, we are already governed under Representation of People Act and Income Tax Act. So these two acts, they already ask for assets of the party, assets of the candidate, and assets of the elected members. So when we are already covered under these two acts, why do you want to put us under RTI again? This was the reason given by the political parties. What they said is, if they are covered under RTI, the opposition parties, they will keep on filing more RTIs. It will hamper the internal functioning of the party. We have to answer every RTI. This will hamper our internal functioning. So we are not covered under RTI. This is the claim made by the political parties and this amendment is passed. So from 2013, political parties are excluded from purview of RTI. Understood? Now, in 2018, there was a problem. There was a proposed amendment to RTI, but then it did not go through. What was the amendment? The government said, at present, the Central Information Commission, which is established under the Gazette notification, it is treated on par with the Central Election Commission, right? The government wanted to do away with this provision. What was the reason given by the government? Because Central Information Commission, this is a constitutional authority, wherein CIC is not a constitutional authority. Both of their operation, both of their scope is totally different. So why should we treat them on par with each other? So what the government proposed is, the terms of the Central Information Commissioner, the salaries, perks and allowances, everything should be prescribed, everything should be determined only by the government. This was the amendment put forward by the government, but this did not go through because there was a widespread opposition among the opposition party as well as the civil societies and non-governmental organizations. So this did not go through. What was the problem with such amendment, friends? Understand, when Central Information Commission and the commissioners are subjected to such a pressure, that is, it is the government who is deciding your tenure, it is the government who is deciding your salary, then they will be subjected to political pressure. So it will hamper the working of RTI and it will hamper the working of Central Information Commission. What will happen is there will be red tapeism happening. Many things will be procrastinated, many things will be hidden. So to avoid this, this amendment was vehemently opposed and it did not go through, right? Now, let's understand the challenges faced by RTI and what are the steps we could take to fix it. The first challenge faced is clogging of the system. Because RTI, it has unearthed so many scams, it has did a commendable work, but the charge for filing an RTI is very less. And if a person filing the RTI is below poverty line, there is no fee for RTI. So what happens is, people file a lot of RTI, it is clogging the system, people are unable to give proper written reply to the right to information file. Because of this, what happens is, there is pendency of cases and then there is laxity among the employees because it is not strictly enforced. Even when the Central Information Commission, it finds out something wrong about an officer or an office, they are not provided with an adequate authority or an enforcement mechanism to make them do the duty. So what happens? They don't take the RTI to be very strict. Then it is a poor record keeping practices because the bureaucracy, it is subjected to so many pressures and there are many poor record keeping practices. So when an RTI is filed, people are unable to answer, they are unable to furnish information because we don't have records with this properly, especially the past records, right? And the most important thing is, we are lacking infrastructure and staff. For example, the Central Information Commission, as per the law, it should have one chief information commissioner and not more than 10 information commissioners, which means there should be 11 information commissioners. Right now, there are only 7 information commissioners. At the end of the year, it will reduce to 3. When there is so much of vacancy, it is difficult to manage the Central Information Commission. It is difficult to enforce the RTI. This is one major problem that is faced by Central Information Commission. And another thing is, the government and many other people, they're trying to dilute the supplementary laws such as the Whistleblowers Act and everything. So these laws that provide strength to the RTI, they should not be diluted. And most important thing is the section 4 of RTI, which says there should be suo motu disclosure of happenings. For example, the Central Information Commission, it has been asking the banks to give suo motu disclosure of its assets, suo motu disclosure of the happenings and the functioning of the bank, so that when there is an error, the consumer, they could make an informed decision. But what these banks and other organizations give by the suo motu disclosure, the informations are minimal. We cannot deduce anything based on it, right? So these are the primary challenges faced by RTI and Central Information Commission. So what could we do to fix this? For example, before tabling and controversial amendment like the 2018 amendment bill, there should be pre-legislative consultation, which means before it goes to the cabinet, the other legislatures present in the parliament or the state legislature, they should be consulted properly before tabling an amendment. Next thing is, the government should operationalize Lokpal, Whistleblowers Act, Grievance Redressal Law. These are the supplementary laws which will strengthen the RTA. So these laws should be strengthened, right? Second thing is, people are scared to file RTA because there are many cases where the RTA activists are attacked, they're harassed. In many cases, sadly, they have been killed by the mafias. So people should feel secure about filing an RTA. So the government should take necessary steps to curb the attacks faced by the RTA activists, right? Now, only a written request could be given for getting an RTA. So what the government should do is, it should introduce an online system so that it will be easier to file an RTA and to get the return, right? And the most important thing is, the vacancies in Central Information Commission and everything, it should be reduced. Friends, the Supreme Court, it has said the RTA is direct interpretation and safeguard to Article 19, which is fundamental right of the Constitution. What it says, right to freedom of speech and expression. So these RTA, it is a strong safeguard to fundamental duties. So we should take necessary steps to strengthen the RTA. We should not dilute the RTA. Understood? So that's all for today's topic. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Thank you.